Okay. What are 3 non-negotiable elements for a Scrum team to succeed? There's an obvious one. You need people who have the capability, the competency to solve the problem. And that doesn't necessarily mean they know how. That means that they can learn how. So they have skills. Okay? And they're going to start tinkering around with that problem, trying to understand how to solve it. And they're able to go out and learn new skills. They're able to go and create new things that maybe nobody's ever tried to before. So, number one, you have to have developers who are highly competent. Okay? Many organisations that I work with say, yeah, but what about the newbies? Well, you put the new developers in with experienced developers, and through mentorship, through doing the do, they're going to get great. But if you've just got a whole team of mediocre, you're going to struggle. No matter what approach you have, you're going to struggle. But in the Agile world, we work in very tight time frames. We're trying to do things that very often people haven't thought of before. We need to be good. So that's number one. Number two, a really strong sense of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Very often when I'm talking about the why, people think it's referring to a cause-based answer. What's the call to action? And that's a very powerful way of doing it. If you're working in a charity or in the healthcare sector or these mission-focused organisations where it's really clear why they exist, and you can point to the team and say, if you solve this problem, these people will be better because of your work. That's incredibly powerful. And yes, we want to capture that, but sometimes you're not in a cause-based organisation. The reason that your product exists isn't about that sort of thing. How do we capture those people? Because the why is still incredibly important. It's a motivating factor. In fact, it's possibly one of the most motivating factors that we can put in place. And we need to look at them and think, are we here to build the best one of these products? Are we here to build the best company? Right? And then we attract people who are interested in that. So we need to give them a really good reason to get out of bed. If a developer turns up to work and they're unmotivated, you're unlikely to know the difference between them and a highly motivated one because their job is done in here. You can't tell whether somebody's thinking hard because they could be sat staring into space, and they could be thinking really hard. They could be doing their job with every fibre of their being, or they could be sat staring into space, and you would never know until it was too late. So we have to capture that. We have to capture that motivating factor. What brings them to work? What makes them want to solve this problem? For some people, it is that cause. It is that cry to action, that better future. That's good. But for some others, it's just being better at who they are, at what they do, building the best product they can. And that's equally as good. We need to find the hook for teams, for individuals. And the third one, I'm never good at threes. The competence, we've had the why. We've got to create an environment where they can decide. Okay. If you have a team being told what to do, this is very similar to the competence and the purpose piece. But if you're telling them what to do, they'll do it. Don't get me wrong, we don't tend to hire bad people who don't want to do a good job, but they're not going to try harder. They're going to just turn up and do the thing that you've told them to do. So inside of that purpose that you've created, you've got to give them the latitude to bring their skills to bear, to bring their creativity, their initiative, their passions. Right? Many developers want to play with new tools and techniques. And you may be, from the outside, sat there thinking, yeah, but they could solve it really easily by just doing this. And they possibly could. Do you know whether they could solve it as easily or better using this different approach? Because they don't either. And we need to give them that latitude to explore, to try things out. Because in doing so, they're building their competence. They're building their motivation. Okay? They are learning how to solve not only the problem in front of them, that is hopefully their focus, but many problems in the future that you may never even realise are problems because in their exploration they found answers before they need them. Okay? I'm not talking about going off and playing with the latest technology for the fun of it. I'm talking about legitimately believing there might be a better way to do this over there. So we're going to look for a bit. And if we can't find it, or it's going to take too long, yeah, we're going to deliver it the way that everybody can already see. But just because that's how we've always delivered it in the past doesn't mean it's the right thing to do now. And what we have to remember with any Scrum team is they determine how to do it within the constraints of the organisation. But we don't tell them how to do it. We have to leave them that autonomy. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.